Hello, everyone. This is the Redistricting Town Hall meeting from the City Council. This is our third meeting on this. The mayor's proposed map was provided to the council a little over 2 weeks ago. And since then, the council has been working to ensure that there's a transparent and open process as it relates to hearing from the community on the proposed map. Joined today, I am your council president, Nick J. Mosby. I also see Madam Vice President Sharon Green Middleton. I also see Councilwoman Odette Ramos. I know
Thank you,
that
Mr. President.
Thank you. I know that we also have Chairman Stokes is on with us. Chairman Bullock is on with us.
Thank you, Mr. President.
And I believe that is all we have currently. Oh, and Councilman Torrance is also on with us this evening. This will be an opportunity again for you to provide any insight, input, comment, concern about the proposed boundary that's gone out. The council will ultimately take the discussion today, all your comments and concerns, what we fielded from social media as well as by email, and we will work to try to meet the needs and the concerns of the community. But we wanted to provide a process where there was an opportunity for folks to really weigh in. So again, I'd like to thank everyone for joining in today in this enlightening conversation. We understand and know that redistricting is literally the foundation of our democracy. It's really important. That's why we want to ensure that we have multiple opportunities to speak on this issue. This is not the only time. We're going to also come back next Tuesday and do this in a hybrid solution where folks can either join online or come into the council chambers to do the same exercise. We'll ask that if there aren't any new comments, if it's the same information, the council's collecting all that information, but we wanted to have multiple opportunities for folks in case maybe they had to work tonight or had other issues in joining us, have another opportunity to join us next Tuesday. I think it's really important to talk about the process. The city charter states that the council must take action within 60 days of the mayor providing the map to us. So that's why the schedule is extremely aggressive. That's why in 2 weeks we've already had 3 meetings. And as of next Tuesday, we're going to have 4 meetings. Because again, we wanted to provide as much opportunity for folks to come and present this and provide feedback to us as quickly as possible for the council to do its legislative job and its legislative action. Each person today will be allowed to speak. Again, this is not really like a Q&A. It's not a question back and forth. If there are questions specific to the process and procedures or charters, definitely would love to hear those questions. But as it relates to the proposed map, this is a map that the mayor worked with planning and other folks inside of the city agency to come up with. And we would really like to hear kind of your concerns, your support, your input to the map that the mayor has created. I talked about the deadline, talked about questions around redistricting. The only other thing I'll say for press, if there are any questions, if you could follow up with our comms team with any specific questions. We really wanted this to be open to the public for their questions and their concerns. So with that, we're going to get started. Everyone will have a minute and a half to 2 minutes to kind of provide, I guess, your concerns, your comments, your feedback, your input, your support of the proposed map. Again, if you could state your name, affiliation, and organization, and then go on, that's when the clock begins to whatever you would like to provide the council to my office this evening.
Mr. President, real quick, Councilman Stokes, there are people say they want to be let in or still in the waiting room, please.
Okay. There's no one in the waiting room. Is there a specific name that you know of, Chairman Stokes?
Doris Monterell just called and say she's waiting to be let in. So I don't know if she's now on here now, but she just called.
Yeah, I'm not sure. She's not in the waiting room at the moment. We'll send out another link to you, Chairman Stokes. Hopefully she can pull up. So at this time, we're going to jump right into, I guess, feedback into the town hall. So if, again, you could use that raise hand function is right before right next to the smiley face. The first person I see is Amy Sheridan. We're going to unmute you, Amy. If you could then go from there and provide any testimony you choose. Amy, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm the president of the Bolton Hill Community Association. Would like to repeat that our neighborhood, which has been proposed to be split between District 11 and District 7, our neighborhood would really like to stay together. We've talked to both Councilor Costello and Councilman Torrance about this. I'd just like to say we were very pleased to have a visit from Councilman Torrance and hope that if we are partly in District 7, we can be completely in District 7 or completely in District 11. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Amy. Truly appreciate that. Bolton Hill has been extremely organized. I think you guys have had representation at every single meeting, and the council hears you loud and clearly. So we appreciate you coming on, and we appreciate the organization and your engagement. Next, we're going to go to Marizu. Is that the appropriate?
Hi, it's Marizu.
Could you turn your volume up a little bit or get a little closer?
A little closer.
Okay, that's fine. We can deal with it. Thank you so much for joining.
You're welcome. I'm from Coldstream Homestead, Montebello, and we as a community have concerns about Clifton Park not being in our district. We have been strong advocates for Clifton Park and so many of the improvements that have happened over the last 30 years there. And for the map to have it in a different district now separates the people who vote from the people who advocate from the park. So we vote, so where we are is the 14th, but our park would be in, I think, Councilman Stokes' area. But so it doesn't really allow us to really advocate as strongly as we have. I mean, so many of the things that we have done are of, I think, benefit to Baltimore City, including that working with Morgan for them to take over our Lake Clifton High that was going to be a vacant building in the middle of a park. So we have a lot of concerns about being separated from the park because over time, I'm sure Councilman Stokes will pay attention to us, but the person after him may not. And so that is a big problem for us. That park is underserved in the first place. It is a gem, but we at least have been strong advocates for it. And, probably the loudest voices for it over the last 30 or 40 years. So really separating the constituents who can vote from where the park would be located, I think really ties the hands over time. Over time, it just will not get as much attention as it should, or the funding, or the support. And that would be criminal. Nobody lives in the park. It might as well stay with Chum.
Thank you so much for providing testimony. We truly appreciate it. We're going to go now to, is that Brian Sweeney? Brian Sweeney, we're going to unmute you and you can begin.
Hi, thank you. So I serve as president of the Highlandtown Community Association, and our community has been divided between the first and the second. About 2/3 of Highlandtown has been in the first district and about 1/3 in the second district. And to echo on what was said earlier, we very, very much would prefer to be within one district. And that has nothing to do with, feeling a loyalty to our representatives in either the first or the second. But we will be very, very happy if it goes through in the way that it is, in the way that this map proposes, because we would like to be within one district, and we are a growing area, and most of our concerns are pretty uniform across the area. So I just want to comment in support of this map on behalf of myself and hopefully the folks of Highlandtown. Thank you.
Brian, thank you for joining us today and providing that. We've logged down your concern. It's been a consistent concern, and we truly appreciate it. Next up, Mr. McCoy.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Richard McCoy. I'm president of the Lake Clifton High School Alumni Association and also a member of the South Clifton Park Community Association. I'm here tonight because my concern, also like the Chum community, is with the position of Clifton Park. Right now, we're at a critical stage in the process with getting a new football stadium there for Reach Partnership, which is also Lake Clifton, carried in the tradition of Lake Clifton High School. We're working with the city and the state partners in getting this facility built. And I think that if the districts, the park has changed districts right now, it's going to slow the momentum. And we're at a critical stage in this process because right now we're in
they could sort of coordinate what they wanted to, how they were going to take them.
Right, because we're on a timetable with Morgan, now that they own that Lake Clifton property and they're allowing the school to use the old stadium, but that's only for a limited amount of time. That property is going to be developed. So we're in a time crunch to actually get that new stadium built before Morgan boots us out of their property. So I think it's really critical that Clifton Park stays where it is so we don't lose the momentum going forward.
Thank you, Mr. McCoy.
Thank you.
Truly appreciate you taking the time to join us. We're moving on. Again, if everyone could remain on mute, we'll unmute you when it's your turn to speak. If you could use the raise hand function next to the smiley face at the bar at the bottom of your computer screen, that's how we're going to call the next person. Next up, I see Sanford and Craig.
Good afternoon. This is Craig. We drew straws and I got to speak.
If both of you would like to speak, I will give you the opportunity to do so.
Our president, our president of Heathbrook, Jennifer Jarvis, was unable to make it tonight, but she sent a written statement in and made some really good points about some interests and concerns for our neighborhood. But the big thing is we're a small neighborhood. We're split between two councilmanic districts right now. We have worked well with both Councilperson Torrance and Councilperson Ramos and enjoy working with them. And I've worked with Councilperson Middleton in the past and think highly of her. But I think our biggest concern, is a lot of people are saying, is having neighborhoods split between multiple council districts. For us, one of the issues is we've got a chunk of Heathbrook would change over to a district that doesn't have Medfield Heights Elementary School in it, and crossing school districts is a big deal. And having looked at the numbers, I know that the goal is to meet the same size for every district, but using the 5% plus or minus that's shown in the map information, we're not a big enough neighborhood to make a difference if moved the line to Cold Spring instead of stopping it at Roland Heights. So the big thing is looking at neighborhoods and trying to keep neighborhoods together. Just makes our voices stronger and makes the interest for the councilman easier to work with, I believe. So thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Sanford.
I'm the voice for Mrs. Sanford.
I'm sorry. I see.
All right.
Well,
That's
Ms.
the
Sanford,
white one.
would you like to provide any testimony?
Oh, you know me.
I know you very well.
You know I have something to say. So one of the things that I would just add, Craig and I are in complete agreement about the thing with Medford Heights Elementary as our elementary school for our neighborhood. And again, this is no reflection on Ms. Middleton at all. Like this is not saying someone's more competent than someone else. But literally, if you look at the map, the way Heathbrook is cut out south of Cold, it looks like an appendix on a physiology chart. You know, it's this weird little
Bump out.
cut out, yeah. And Cold Spring Lane would just make so much more difference to keep us in with Hose Heights and, you know,
Medfield.
Hamden and Medfield, where we just are more aligned. And that's all I'm saying.
Well, again, we truly appreciate you guys coming out tonight. We have it listed and it will be considered as we continue to move forward. I know that the Madam Vice President shares some of those same concerns as well. She's expressed that, not that she doesn't want to serve that area, but if she has that area, she wants the whole area. So we're going to try to make it, obviously when you do these maps, one change affects someone else. And it's kind of difficult riddle and puzzle to play around with. But again, the council is trying to do its due diligence and hear from as many folks as possible so we can come out with a map that we can all be proud of about the process, but more importantly, try to drive where we can have some level of understanding across the board and cooperation to do that. So thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Next up. Again, if you guys could go down to the bottom and use the raise hand function. As soon as I see the next person is, sorry, my comment. I think Aaron Curley. We're going to unmute you. Please state your name, affiliation, and provide us with your testimony.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear.
Wonderful, thank you. And thank you for allowing us to provide comments on the redistricting map. I am a resident in Highlandtown, and I also organize the community garden in the neighborhood. I currently live on Conkling Street, which has been the dividing line between the first and the second district in our neighborhood, which the neighborhood is split between the first and second district currently. The plan to reunite the neighborhood under the first district is fantastic. I think it'll really help us streamline our outreach with the city and simplify who we turn to for help when we need it, and to coordinate events and make sure that we're getting the right people at our events. So I fully support the plan to unite Highlandtown under the first district. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Truly appreciate you joining us this evening. Next up, I see Isaac Leo.
Hi, yes. Are you able to hear me?
Loud and clear. The floor is yours.
Wonderful. I just want to say, just real quick, thank you for making this process transparent and explaining it all. I understand you're in a big rush, and so this is much appreciated. I live in Midtown. I am in District 12, Councilman Stokes. But I would actually talk more about just something noticing at the precinct level between districts 1, 2, and 13. I noticed that when examining sort of at the demographic level and at the precinct level, because I know you can't split precincts when you're redistricting in Baltimore, that the Latino population and the communities are split between districts 1, 2, and 13. I don't think they would necessitate a majority in any district, but they would in certain configurations of, say, District 1, for example, the largest minority group, depending on the shape of the district. When looking at voting age population, which I think is what you have in if I recall correctly. And, all just providing the opportunity for an emerging community and emerging population within the city to have greater political influence and have a greater voice in a specific district would be really, I think, really fantastic, and would help. They would have the ability to have council, whoever represents them in the future, very attuned and attentive to their community needs and wishes. And so I hope that when drawing or editing or changing, however these districts are changed, if they are changed, that these sort of communities and sort of understanding of looking at demographics at a precinct level is thoughtfully considered by city council.
Thank you so much. We hear you loud and clear. Thank you for highlighting the point of ensuring that our Latinx has strong representation, and the idea of trying to figure out a way to configure it to strengthen their vote and their voice is definitely heard by you tonight. So I truly appreciate that. I think one point that he brought up that I just want to try to double down, the mayor in his map, really tried to stick with best practice of ensuring that precincts weren't split. That keeps confusion down, not just for voters, but also for the State Board of Elections. That is kind of a factor that we all should really consider when we're talking about this. That's the factor and the standard that the council will use if, based off of any of the questions or concerns tonight, if we take them up to try to modify a map. But we do not want to split up precincts. So I really appreciate you raising that point and understanding that, and I just wanted to provide that level of edification for the rest of the folks listening out there. The next person we're going to go to is Jaslyn Paul. We're going to unmute you.
Hi, I'm Jacqueline Paul. I'm president of Medfield Community Association, and I just wanted to really echo the concerns of our neighboring neighborhood. Heathbrook, I've already spoken. I submitted written testimony as well, so I'm just going to do an abridged version. But we're a relatively small neighborhood, very cohesive, and we're already split between two council districts as it is, the 7th and the 14th. And that has presented challenges for us in our advocacy work. And we're especially concerned about this redrawing of the map because it basically hacks off a 2-block section at the north end of our neighborhood. And from that north to south end where we're talking about, we have been really trying to organize serious advocacy work around pedestrian and traffic safety. And it has been helpful that is all in the 7th district, and we have problem areas in both the far north and south end that we've been working on, and it just does not seem justifiable to us to split a small neighborhood into now 3 council districts and put that burden on our volunteers who are already facing, having 2 council districts. It really does hinder our advocacy work, and we feel it would really disempower our community association and the advocacy work that we're trying to do on quality of life issues, which, again, I'll echo, we don't, this isn't about who the council person is. It is about how many districts could make up one small neighborhood. And the boundary being drawn at Cold Spring Lane just makes so much more sense for us. And in terms of how the boundaries are, neighborhood boundaries and socially. And I think that the people have spoken in favor and in opposition of this map. And I think there's one universal thing that everyone has said, and that is that respect for existing neighborhood boundaries and advocacy work that neighborhoods are doing is essential. And that's in common between people who are protesting this and who are in favor. And the reasons are the same, is that we want these neighborhood boundaries to be respected because Baltimore is a city of neighborhoods, and this is very important, and we don't want to be further hamstrung in our work. And that's all I have.
Thank you so much for providing that testimony tonight. We're going to move on to John Seacott.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is John Seacott. I represent Civic Works, who operates 3 sites inside Clifton Park. And I want to speak on behalf of keeping Clifton Park in the 14th district, because it is the voices and voters of the 14th who have sometimes instigated, sometimes advocated, sometimes got funding for at least 29 different creative actions within the park, and has also made plans for future beneficial actions for the park. Is it possible for me to share a screen with you all?
No, sir. Only because I know, Mr. Seacott, you're going to provide something that is going to be acceptable for viewership of all. But we want to make sure that we keep those restrictions down just from a security purpose.
Right.
If we haven't seen it in advance.
All right, that's fine. I don't want to bore everybody or take up too much time by listing all 29 items, but simply to say that over the last 25 to 30 years that I've been here, I've witnessed such efforts being made from the 14th and the voters of the 14th and their voices who have been pushing for those improvements to the park. In order to stay on that track, I think it is essential for the same voter voices to be able to see their dreams come to reality. Switching to different representation, I fear, would mean starting again from zero. So please, I urge the council and the mayor to reevaluate and find the value in keeping Clifton Park on which borders Harford Road, its full length, on the roster of the citizens of the 14th. Thank you.
Mr. Seacott, thank you so much. Now we're going to go to Madam President Doris Minor Terrell. The floor is yours.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks for this opportunity to voice a concern about the map. I choose to challenge the statement just stated by Mr. Seacock in terms of the 14th maintaining control of the park area. We as residents who live within the park area would like to have that park area returned to the 12th district. We do not support it going into the 4th district. I respect Mr. Seacock's statement, but we vehemently disagree with moving that 12th out of the catchment area of controlling the park. We strongly make that statement. I will send you a written correspondence supporting 5 different communities who are surrounded by the park. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Doris Terrell, for joining us this evening as well. Next, we're going to go to John Ford. Mr. Seacott, if you're still on, if you could send us the list of the 29, I think that you want to show us. If you could just email that to me, we'll make sure we put it as part of the bill file and it'll be factored in.
Thank you.
Hello. Thank you, President Mosby. I am a resident of Canton, right on the border with Highlandtown in the 1st District, and the views are just my own. But I, just speaking from the perspective of somebody right on the border between Highlandtown and Canton, I appreciate the proposed map. Makes sense to me. Keeping the communities around the sides of Patterson Park together, and keeping Highlandtown united and together with Canton. And it seems, since I know that we have to lose territory as being a district that grew, the way that the cuts were made does make sense to me in the proposed map. And I also, just as somebody who started getting canvassing from the primary that's coming up, appreciate democratically that all 4 of the candidates I'm aware of in the in the first district are still within the bounds of the proposed map. So I would not, at this stage, it seems like it would be pretty disruptive to change that. So I appreciate that that still is there in this version of the proposed map. So just speaking for Southeast and First District area, I think this proposed map makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
Thank you so much, John. Next up, the next hand raised I see is moving over. And if you would like to speak, please use the raise hand function next to the smiley face at the bottom of your screen. The next name I see is Ms. Joy Smith. The floor is yours.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear now.
Okay, I'll start over.
Okay.
Okay, I'm Joyce Smith. It seems like I have an echo.
We can't hear echo on our end. I'm not sure.
All right, well, I'll just keep talking. President of the Howard Park Civic Association. And I want to, first of all, thank Councilwoman Ramos for sending out this map and keeping me on her email list. I did not have any communication from my 5th district councilman about this meeting or this redistricting. And I just want that on record. And that's Councilman
Yes,
Yitzi.
President
Schaefer.
Smith, we sent it out. We blasted it. It's on social media. I'm glad Councilwoman Ramos was able to get it to you. If you're not on the council's distro, we'll definitely get you after this meeting's over. But please begin regarding your concerns or support of the map.
Okay, my concern is that, and looking at the map and looking at my Howard Park map, it seems like we are currently trying to be moved into 3 districts. We are currently in the 5th district and the 8th district. And that's been more than sufficient. And it seems like the part that's being cut off to be moved to the 6th district is the black part of the district. All of the 5th district up in the pink is intact. So I have a concern with that. I have a concern with trying to be moved into 3 districts, the 5th and the 8th and the 6th. We're trying to keep our community together. We try to work well with the 8th district representatives and when possible, the 5th district. And I also appreciate the Councilman Middleton, Sharon Green Middleton, for reaching out to me for anything that she thinks has an impact on us also. But if it's possible, I would like to keep us into the 2 districts that we're currently in, the 5th district and the 8th. And I'm just wondering what the rationale is for trying to chop off that piece of the 5th district down around Liberty Heights to move it into the 6th.
Thank you so much. I just want to be clear with everyone. The map that we have, the proposed map, was a map that was done in conjunction with the mayor and the planning department and other folks inside of the administration. This is an opportunity for all of us, not just the council, but for the community to look over the map and try to bring any questions or concerns. The council wanted to make that process as transparent as possible. That's why we're here today. This is our 3rd meeting in 2 weeks. We're going to have an additional one next Tuesday, and we'll continue to try to take any questions, concerns, or feedback from the community as the council tries to aggressively do this very arduous task of looking at this map in the time frame in which the charter allows which is 60 days upon the mayor presenting it to us. So, Ms. Smith, thank you so much for, again, joining, providing your questions, concerns, and feedback. We've collected them all, and they'll be tabulated with the other ones.
Well, just real quick, what is the justification for
So
trying
that
to?
question, yes, ma'am. That question on compactness or continuity and any of the other like map specific things, I would have to go to the mayor's office. The administration came up with this map. This is an opportunity for the community to provide concerns about the map so the council can take those into account. But the council members, the council, it's our turn now to look at the mayor's map, just kind of like the budget, and then from there proceed if we pass it out, if we make changes. But that is the point that we're in right now. So all those questions would have to go to the mayor and the administration.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Ms. Smith. Next, we're going to go to Jill Damaro.
Yes, can you hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear. The floor is yours.
Thank you for this opportunity. I really appreciate it. I live in Heathbrook, and I'm on Rowland Heights Avenue, and I'm on the north side. And if you're on the north side, you're either used to be in District 7, which is literally across, we're bordered by Cold Spring, Falls Road, Rowland, and 41st. We're basically squared in. So if you're on the north side of Rowland Heights Avenue, you're in one district. If I look across the street to my neighbor across the street, they're in a different district. And it's this little notch that's gotten pulled out of, you know, the shape of our boundaries of our neighborhood makes it difficult in the sense that we often aren't represented very well because we're just removed from the bigger districts that we're a part of.
Thank you so much, Jill, for joining us and providing that. We hear you loud and clear. We're going to put that on the list as well. It's not the first time we've heard that question or that concern, and we appreciate you joining us tonight. Next up, we're going to go to Kate Sims.
Hello. Thank you, Council President Mosby, for doing this. I think it's really important to be able to provide the feedback as residents. This will potentially have a pretty big impact on all of us. So I think having some feedback in the process is extremely important. I am the president of the Fells Point Residents Association, and I'd just like to echo what several other people have said before, that I think it's vital to keep current communities together. As a community association, you're a volunteer, and it is quite honestly a labor of love that you do for your community. And I think that the city, benefits a lot from all of the advocacy and all of the work that community associations do. And you shouldn't really make it harder on us to do that job by splitting communities into different districts. 2, 3 is just unacceptable. You work really hard to try and get as much done as possible for your community, and it's even harder when you have multiple districts you have to work with. For example, Fells Point, this current map has like one block that would be in a completely different district. And then Upper Fells Point, who is right above us and we've always worked together, would also be in a different district. And I just want to reiterate that I think community associations should be together, and we do a lot for the city, and it would be helpful if just the bare minimum we can kind of be cohesive. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam President, for joining us. Next up, we're going to go to Christina Diamond.
Hello. I just want to actually reiterate what my neighbors from Heathbrook have already mentioned, is that it's going to be hard enough for us to get anything done. I mean, I live in the little bit of Heathbrook that is in District 7 right now. and during the whole pulling for the roadway, which I use as both a driver and a walker, we weren't even included in this because we were in a completely different district. It wasn't until Hose Heights reached out to us that I was even informed of the survey that went around. And I think by putting us in District 6, it's going to make it even harder for us to find out information in our community and just get things done and make improvements. Like I live on Falls Road and we still have our no parking signs up between 4 and 6:30. And across the street, which is in District 14, someone took theirs down and they can park there. So it's like just having some sort of continuity in neighborhoods would be amazing. That's it. Thank you.
No, thank you, Ms. Diamond. Really appreciate your civic engagement and joining this evening. Next up, we're going to go to Joseph DeCita.
Hi, thanks very much for having this. My name is Joe DeCita. I live over here in Southeast in District 1. I'm past president of my community association in Brewers Hill. And I'm also involved in just kind of citywide stuff with the Baltimore Family Alliance. I'm on their board and I'm helping out a lot with that. So we certainly talk to a lot of folks from around the city. And I sort of the opposite of some stuff that Jill was bringing up about like going across the street and you're in a new district. Some of the changes that are happening over here in District 1 are solving a problem that we currently have where if you're walking down the street, to the left is District 1 and to the right is District 2, when in the past that was a combined district, obviously a combined community. So with the current map that's been presented, I'm happy to kind of see that reunification of the Highlandtown neighborhood of being in one district. But I just kind of want to, I guess, reiterate some of the other things that have been said where I think it's important for continuity with when we are looking at these districts and drawing these boundaries, not to necessarily be abrupt to a particular community or variety of communities where they are now trying to work over different districts. It can just be challenging for that, right? So it's just interesting because like in District 1, we're like recombining a community under the same district, but there's going to be some other possibility in neighborhoods where it's going to get split up there, right? So I think it's important to try to find a balance there to keep that continuity. I just also like to mention over in District 1, we obviously have a council race happening for our first district council person. I don't know, there's like 3 people running, I think, 4 people. I don't know. But I think it's important to make sure that and I'm not really too sure how many other districts have races going on, but I think it's also important to make sure we're not making any changes to where this late in the game we could be taking someone out of contention from trying to run to be able to do their work as a community leader, as an elected leader. So I think that should be taken into consideration. I just want to mention that, but I probably would just kind of double down on the continuity of neighborhoods is really important. So I think that should be taken into account as this current map is reviewed and other changes are considered by the council to send back to the mayor to say, here's the changes we would like to see. And I think continuity of neighborhoods is a really good one to try to make sure that we are focusing on. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. Once a president, always a president. Appreciate you joining.
Thank you very much.
We're going to go to, I saw the name Liz Likey. Liz, can you hear me?
Yep, I'll take it. This is Liz Leckie. I am a resident of Highlandtown, and I currently reside in the area that is parceled off in District 2 as opposed to the rest of the neighborhood, which is in District 1. So one of the things that I appreciate about the mayor's map and what I would hope to see in any map that was finalized for the city is that what other people have spoken on the reconciliation of of Highlandtown into District 1. Highlandtown has consistently been integral to helping with organization and revitalization in the Southeast, and especially in partnership with those other park adjacent communities. So keeping us in District 1 is also very important. And as some other folks have mentioned, ensuring that because we do have a race coming up, all of the declared candidates remain in this district. I think it would be very problematic to see any solution arrived at which knocked anyone out at this point, as some other people have pointed out. So just wanted to speak in support of Highlandtown coming back together. I think that echoes a lot of the narratives we're hearing from other neighborhoods as well. So our neighborhood has been split. We want to come back together, staying in District 1.
Thank you, Liz. Now we're going to move over to Lydia Wilson.
Good evening. Thank you for this opportunity. My name is Lydia Wilson, and I'm the president of the Hose Heights community. I just want to echo and give my support to the residents of Heathbrook and Medfield into keeping our districts as is. For as long as I can remember, we have worked with these communities, and to separate us now, I think would bring about some serious harm to the communities. We have just started a great working relationship with councilpersons Odette Ramos and James Torrance, and we have quite a few projects that we're working with them on, and we would like to see those projects through and not have to reinvent the wheel or do these things all over again with someone else. So basically, I just wanted to say that we are opposed to the redistricting plan and that we do support our neighbors in Medfield and Heathbrook. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam President. Next up, we're going to go to Madeline Martinez.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Madeline Martinez. I am a resident of District 1, and I'm also a member of the Baltimore City Democratic Central Committee. So I just want to extend my gratitude for your dedication and the dedication of the administration to ensure that the proposed map for District 1 includes all the people that are currently running for city council. This inclusive approach empowers the residents of District 1 to make an informed decision about who will best represent all of our interests here in District 1. So I just want to thank you and express my support for the map proposed for District 1, and let us know if there's anything that we can do to support you as well.
Thank you so much, Ms. Martinez. Next up, I only see initials, MT. Your full name is not listed. MT, we're going to unmute you.
Good evening, President Mosby. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hi, for the record, my name is Macon Tucker. I'm a resident of the Medfield Heights area. I don't want to sound redundant from my neighbors, but I am in agreement of the redistricting line staying at the Cold Spring Lane. Councilman Torrance has been very active in our community, and as testimony has gone already, we do have projects that are taking place in our community, and no disrespect to Councilwoman Middleton, but it is hard to pick up projects in the middle when they have traction. We have a new community in Medfield, and there were some issues at the beginning of that community, and Councilman Torrance listened to us. He had our back, and he advocated for us. And we just would like to remain in the current state of the district that we're in. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Truly appreciate you coming on this evening. Next up. Trying to find, let's see, James Post. Mute everybody again. 1 second, we'll go to James Pros.
Mr. President, if you're talking, you're muted.
No, thank
Okay,
you.
I'm
Mr. James Pros, are you up?
Yeah, I am unmuted now.
Yes, sir.
I wanted to reiterate what Amy Sheridan, the president of the Bolton Hill Association, said, and what seems to be the theme throughout these presentations is keeping neighborhoods whole. I have actually gone to the data that's available from city planning and tried to play with the data to restructure the neighborhoods and address concerns that we had. It's very difficult. And the first thing I think we need to have from the mayor's office, I assume, is city planning has a map of neighborhood statistical areas. And then we have a map of the existing and the proposed councilmanic districts and all the precincts. We need to see an overlay on that to just see how the existing map and how the future map impacts neighborhoods all over Baltimore. And you can't really go through that process till you get an understanding. Everything is interrelated, and the minute you move one precinct or two precincts back to keep a neighborhood whole, you affect the numbers in the other election district. So I urge that whomever is going through the technical analysis, make sure that they pay attention to existing neighborhoods and how they're impacted by any proposed amendments to the mayor's map. Thank you.
No, thank you so much, Mr. Prost. I believe you and Angie from Moore Park have been the only folks that have been to every single council meeting to date. So we truly appreciate you participating in your civic engagement. Next up, I see Angie. I saw her pop on. She's been on, but she didn't raise her hand until a little while ago. So we're going to go to you down in Moore Park. So Angie, the floor is yours.
Hello, President Mosby. How are you? I just wanted to, again, I know you already heard from me a few times, but I just wanted to say again, we would really love to keep our community together as one under Miss Porter. Miss Porter and Nikki have been such a huge help to our neighborhood, and we're really starting to get stuff done. So I guess I just wanted to say it again. And I thank you very, very much for including us in this talk. And, you know, I'll be there. As long as I can be, I'll be there.
Well, thank you so much, Madam President. We hear you loud and clear, and we truly appreciate, like I said, your consistency and level of engagement with the council.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next up, we're going to go to Christopher Irvin in Northwest Baltimore. Mr. Irvin, the floor is yours. Mr. Irvin, if you could try to unmute yourself. There you go.
Good evening, Mr. President. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. And good evening to the other participants. I would echo the voices that have already spoken and hope to keep my community as it has been drawn in the Howard Park section in Northwest Baltimore. If you look at the map in District 5, I actually live in that lower corner part that has been segmented out to be removed. And when you look at the actual census numbers, the district overall has lost population, but there are parts of the district that have gained population and parts that have not. In fact, my community has lost population. And so how does it help the district to remove a small piece of a district that has lost population if we're trying to actually grow the city and grow? I don't get the thinking behind it. To reduce, attempt to reduce this district by that one corner, which is basically moving the line one street over. And so I would hope that with the work that we've been doing as a district on the Ambassador Theater, on this Liberty Heights corridor, working with our 6th district partners, for all of the work that we've been doing, I would hope that we could also get the same consideration in keeping our boundaries what they've been, so that we can continue the work that we've been doing in the fashion that we've been doing it so far. Again, if the drawing of these lines is about population, I really don't see why that change is made. And I would hope that there could be some public discussion on that. But thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Irvin. Truly appreciate you joining us tonight. Next up, we're going to go to Claudia Towles. Ms. Towles.
Hi, thank you.
Ms. Towles,
Sorry.
Yep. You're fine. The floor is all yours.
I just wanted to thank you for having these meetings. I've been on listening intently as a candidate for District 1, and I've heard much of the concern that I hear on doors, which is cohesiveness, neighborhoods, not only of neighborhoods, but also of community association boundaries. And there's concern in certain areas where, Kate, I also serve on the Fells Point Resident Association Board, and Kate, our president, mentioned this earlier about swaths of Bond and Upper Fells and communities like Harbor East and Harbor Point, which back in the day, 15, 20 years ago, were part of the greater area of Fells Point and share many interests as waterfront communities and commercially and residentially dense communities. So what I've heard differently on this one call is a call to ensure that candidates who have declared for specifically District 1, because I believe that's the only open seat, this map be reflective of keeping them in one place. And, as a candidate myself, I certainly appreciate those requests. But more importantly, as a community member and as someone who's lived here for 23 years, I hope that, as James Prost mentioned, we look at the overlay of all the maps with regards to these redistricting changes and how they impact the communities, and then really focus our attention on how the communities are affected over, the public interest over any one particular council race, as, frustrating as it is as a candidate to be working through what your district might look like, or if you're going to be put into a different district, which has been, all of our concerns. I think every single one of us, if polled, we would want to ensure that the interest of the community be put forth first before the interest of any one individual who's running. And, I will say that is certainly my perspective, and I'm sure that others who've declared who are doing this to serve would have similar feelings. So just wanted to put that out there.
Thank you so much. I'm pretty sure it wasn't the motivation of the mayor's office or planning to put any one person over another that's running. It's certainly not going to be the work that the council's doing either. We appreciate you joining and look forward to your continued civic engagement. The next person that we're going to go to is, I'm looking for the next hand raised. You see anymore? I think the last one is, we're going to go back to Doris Terrell. I think someone else is using your computer. Ms. Terrell? I don't see her yet. Is it not? She's on. No, Doris Terrell. It's still mute. Try to unmute it. We can't hear you. And we had a hard time unmuting. Do you see the unmute request? We see you, but we can't hear you. There we go.
Okay. Thank you, Council President Mosby. I appreciate the opportunity to speak. My name is Harold Madison, the president of New South Clifton Park Community Association. You know, Mr. President, you know, in hearing this meeting, you know, it was brought to my attention that not knowing how long it has been that New South Clifton Park had not been a part of the park. But when Mr. Seacock from Civic Works stated 20 to 25 years, 30 years of planning a dream. Now, my border of the Community Association borders on one side of the park. Try explaining to the kids of your community that you have no representation of the direction of the dream of a park. Who does that in 2023? I applaud the change. I look forward to the growth, getting our young people into that park to understanding the value of what a park does for an up and coming community in East Baltimore in the 12th Councilmanic District. Thank you for this opportunity to speak, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President. Really appreciate that. And I think we have one additional request from Councilwoman Ramos. What's the person's? Oletha Carter. Ms. Carter, we're going to unmute you. Ms. Carter, we're having trouble unmuting you. Can you try to unmute yourself? And Ms. Carter, Councilwoman Ramos asked us to elevate you, but you have to unmute yourself, Ms. Carter, if you can hear us. Ms. Carter, can you hear us? If so, we can't hear you. While we're trying to bring Ms. Carter up, if there's anybody who has not had an opportunity to speak at this time, we ask that you use the raise hand function at the bottom next to the little smiley face. That will alert us and put you in the queue to speak.
Council President, this is Marizu. I also have my hand up because Mark Washington is also here on the same computer. So I wanted to give her a chance.
Thank you, Marizu. At this time, Ms. Washington, you can begin to speak. Is that Senator Washington?
No, it's Mark Washington.
Oh, Mark Washington. I'm sorry, Mr. President. All right. The floor is yours.
Mr. President, thanks for having this meeting. I concur to some degree with the statement that Harold Madison made, but reversing that situation from the 14th to the 12th is just simply a reversal of the situation. Communities and districts that have lost population should in fact be balanced. However, balancing the population of these districts should not come at the expense of communities who, quite frankly, the front lawn of Clifton Park is their front lawn, losing their voice. I live in the 12th district. Councilman Stokes is my representative, and so I am quite fine with the work that he's doing. However, those residents of the 14th that live in Coldstream, Homestead, Montebello, parts of Mayfield, their voice in the park and how it's developed simply might not be heard by those who would replace Councilman Stokes down the road. The end result is this, is you're simply moving a geographical piece of land that has essentially no voters in it and shifting what would be one community that feels as though they have been alienated in decisions of the park by transferring it to another. And I don't think that's essentially a smart government, and I don't think that that makes sense. I think if we're looking to balance the district based on the number of voters, then that's exactly what we should do. But I don't think moving geographical assets at this point, particularly given the work that the communities have done to bring additional assets to the park, I don't think that that should be undermined in this process. And I certainly hope that is not something that will occur.
Thank you so much, President Washington. As you can see, you know, the council's job is never easy. This is a arduous process for us all. obviously communities want the best for one another as well as the collective best. But sometimes there are differing opinions. And as we've seen through today's call, not just with that example, but with other examples, those are the things that the council will have to consider. Obviously, those are the things that the mayor has already considered. But this dialogue is truly, truly important. We're going to go back to Ms. Carter. Can you speak to see if we can hear you at this point, Ms. Carter? It's showing that you're unmuted, but we still cannot hear you. Ms. Carter? Okay, we're still going to try to work on Ms. Carter. Is there anyone else who has not had the opportunity to speak?
Hello, I apologize, but I don't have a place. Pauline Charles from Dolly Park.
Ms. Charles,
you were saying about
the floor is yours, Ms. Charles.
You were saying about the smiley face and everything. I don't have any of that showing. Basically, Dolly Park is a very small community, and I actually live on a block where it's a split. And I'm able to, I'm the president of Dolly Park, and I interact very well with council lady Ramos, and my councilman is Robert Stokes. However, I believe that Dolly Park is so small, so certainly I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear, Ms. Charles.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you said. So basically for Dolly Park, to me, it only makes sense for it to be under one council person. It's very small. So I basically am very excited about working with our Councilman Robert Stokes as far as expanding out into the park area and the different areas that he's going to be picking up. He's always been hands-on with our community, not saying that our other council lady hasn't been, but I'm really looking forward to the growth, and I believe it will take place. So I'm excited about the change myself.
Thank you so much, Ms. Carter. Truly appreciate you joining us this evening, as well as everyone else. I think I've asked a couple times. I don't see any additional hands raised or folks who had. What I will do is open it up just for one quick minute. If someone's having any technical difficulties and having a hard time attempting to join, I'll let you open and unmute yourself at this time.
Hi, my name is Wendy Roberts. I'm not sure if you can hear me because I had to dial in.
We can hear you loud and clear. You can begin.
Okay. I just wanted to reiterate on everything everyone has been saying. I do appreciate you very much. I just wanted to let you know that I feel that Morrell Park is being divided with the new redistricting, and that is currently how I feel about it because it would be two different communities.
Hello? Thank you so much. Hello? Thank you so much for providing that testimony, Ms. Carter.
Hello? Yes,
hello,
can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear, Ms. Carter.
Oh, boy. Thank you, Mr. President. Oh, boy. Anyway,
You're going to
thank
close
you
this
so
out, Ms.
much.
Carter.
Yeah, thank you so much. Anyway, I'm in District 14, a 60-year resident here. And we all voted for Odette Ramos. And she has brought sunshine, and she has awakened the seniors and the young people in this neighborhood. She keeps us informed. She's always in the neighborhood doing something, letting us know what's going on. Mr. Stokes, he may make a neptosecond cameo, and that's it. I didn't even know he was across the street. But now I understand someone said they were satisfied with his work. But we voted for Odette. Odette is doing a great job. She just doesn't let it stop at the office. If something goes on in the neighborhood, positive, negative, indifferent, whatever, she's either on the phone calling her seniors, and she's finding out what's going on in the neighborhood. We've had nice things up here in the park, nice events from the city in the park. The morale is up, and we want to keep it up. She's at every meeting. If she's not, somebody's there to represent her. And it would be detrimental to the neighborhood's morale if this district is given to Mr. Stokes. It's the interest is just not there for us. I don't know if we're too old or what it is, but we voted for Odette. And we want Odette to stay where she's at with us because she's got us all up in the air, doing things and in great expectation, making our royalty a reality. That's what she's doing. Because this neighborhood is going to look like the Garden of Eden. You know it, Mr. President. Zoning knows it, and I definitely know it. Thank you so much for letting me get in.
Ms. Carter, not a problem. We want everybody's voice to be heard, and we truly appreciate you waiting as we got through all of those technical difficulties. Well, with that, I truly appreciate everyone for participating in the first set of town halls. We're going to have another one on October the 10th at 6 p.m. Some folks have requested that they like to come in person and see us, so we're going to do a hybrid. We're going to have folks that are able to testify in person, but we're going to also open the WebEx link for folks to provide any additional feedback or questions and concerns. We've done a yeoman's job of identifying and detailing out all that we've heard today. This is again the third meeting that we've had and heard directly from the community. We've also heard from folks on social media as well as by email. We're going to tabulate all of those things, work with the council, and figure out what our next steps. There will be again another opportunity for everyone to come and participate. That's next week, October the 10th at 6 p.m. For those of you who've had a chance to kind of voice your concern today, I'll ask that you give other folks a chance next week if you do not have any new information. But if you have new information or different perspective or additional details, we will certainly welcome to hear that. And with that, we're going to close it out. Again, thank you so much. Please stay on alert on social media. We're going to set out email blasts. But next Tuesday, October the 10th at 6 p.m., that's when we're going to come back, reconvene to have another town hall to allow your voices, your input, and your comments and concerns be heard about the redistricting process. Thank you so much. We look forward to seeing you guys on Tuesday. Again, remember, it's in person as well as virtual. So we're going to do the hybrid. You can stay at home or you can come see me right here at City Hall. Have an amazing rest of your Thursday. Baltimore, we absolutely love you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.